Hey, all, you found Marty in Warehouse and Operations as a Career here again. Here we are in week 50 of 2024. I just realized we haven't talked about our 2025 goals or plans yet. Maybe we can get to that in the next few weeks. Y'all know how big I am on goals and planning. And I'm pretty much right on target for the year myself. Anyway, before I get started running down that path, I'll get back to today's bullet points. I've been talking about the workforce out there right now and how we're seeing people exploring new industries and changing their career goals over the last several weeks. I was asked by a listener if I could talk about warehouse positions at distribution facilities in particular. She wanted to know how to get started and how do you get into a management position. Speaking with her, I found that her work history, although she hasn't been in the workforce but for about almost 5 years, she's had about 18 months in a production type facility doing a little picking and packing for assembly parts. I'm not sure what they built over there though. Her only other jobs had been with 2 restaurants and 3 retail stores. She states she so enjoys the physical aspects of the job and the warehouse environment really overall. One of the comments she made was that in the restaurant industry, you could be trained as a manager after being there for like 3 months. There was a lot more responsibility given to you and the pay was pretty good, but the hours weren't never set. They were kind of different every week. She was wondering if she could be a supervisor in a few months. Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. She has a friend working in the distribution world, and she spoke with them regarding the pay, and I think that's where we landed on the distribution industry. So let's talk about distribution and delivery. I thought we'd walk a case of product through the building. We'll start with that case being purchased. I know a merchandiser or procurement department isn't actually a warehouse position. However, they do interact with the warehouse more than any other office position. Our merchandiser understands how valuable the real estate is in our warehouse. Space is at a premium. Square footage is expensive, and it has to be utilized to maximize our efficiencies on the floor. So quantities are purchased with days on hand in mind. Pick slots are assigned to facilitate that product's movement. Meaning, how many times a week does our selector stop in front of that slot and how many cases does the warehouse select and ship in a week? Once we know that, we'll calculate the amount of space needed to store or slot that number of cases so we don't have to move pallets around more times than absolutely necessary. The merchandiser will purchase in that pallet quantity, hopefully, and whenever they can, even the correct tie and high configuration for our slot size. Tie meaning how many cases on a layer, and high being how many layers crisscrossed or reverse stacked on a pallet. Okay, so the company has purchased the product now, and it's on a trailer and on its way to us. First, the load will need to be scheduled to arrive and be unloaded. Let's say we're working at a large facility with an inbound trailer or container count of, let's say around 60 loads a day. The first position that we'll discuss is the inbound scheduler. In my opinion, this is one of the hardest jobs in the warehouse. I didn't like it, and to be honest, I never was very good at it. This individual works closely with merchandising and our logistics department, scheduling the loads for each day. They are usually working about 2 weeks out, setting up appointments through freight brokers and over-the-road operators for date and times to unload. It is a tough job. Everyone wants the appointment to work with their schedule. This person has to be patient, be able to de-escalate many situations a day, handle multiple phone calls a day, and deal with people that may have been lied to regarding an appointment already. With all that being said, our case has arrived and the load is given a door to back into. Now, the driver or operator may utilize a lumper or unloading service to remove the product from his or her trailer, segregate each item by item number, stack it in the correct pallet configuration using a breakdown sheet, and stage it on the dock for our receiver to work with it. The lumper position or unloader job is a great get-your-foot-in-the-door job, an entry-level position that can take us on to most any position within the warehouse. We'll learn every item in the building by sight. That ability can certainly take us places. The next position or person to see our case will be the receiver. Now, this is a very important job. Typically, a very experienced person will have this position. They are responsible for receiving or verifying the item is what was ordered in the correct quantity with nothing damaged and entering it into our inventory. Once received, by accepting the delivery, our receiver is basically writing a check for that product right then and there. He or she is working off of a PO or purchase order to see what is being delivered or what should be delivered. They will then tag the pallet as received. At our large DC, that tag will have a barcode which states the quantity on the pallet, the item number, and any information our WMS or warehouse management system has been given for it. Maybe something like FIFO or first in, first out, the pick slot location or the reserve location to store the pallet in. The next position would be the pallet runner. This position will work from a single, double, or maybe even a triple electric rider platform pallet jack, hauling the received pallets from the dock to the assigned aisles and staging them for the forklift operators to place in the reserve slots or the pick locations as directed by the information on that bar-coded pallet tag. This position may be filled from the lumper task or off the streets with a person with maybe 1+ years of electric rider jack experience. It's referred to as a skilled position, but I feel it still falls in that gaining experience category. It is a PIT or pit position, so we'll have completed the classroom portion of OSHA's 1910.178 standard and had the machine's operation demonstrated to us and us observed on the equipment in our working environment. A great growth position in my humble opinion. From here, the put-away forklift operator takes over. He or she will scan the receiving tag and place the pallet in the proper location, possibly a reserve slot or the pick slot. This position requires quite a bit of experience. Typically, this individual will have several years of warehouse experience and at least 3 years of forklift experience. You are placing pallets many feet in the air, working around others and different types of equipment. This is a job with more responsibilities than most. For all those reasons and the importance of safety with the task, it usually pays pretty well. And here we are at the order selector task now. This is considered by many to be the golden ticket in the distribution arena. In our large facility, it pays very well. The work is hard. The pace can be unbelievable at times. We could be paid by the piece and or our productivity. So we are focused on moving at all times. Our errors have to all but be non-existent, and safety has to be on the forefront of our minds and actions at all times. Yes, this position pays well, but I encourage everyone to have an exit strategy. This is not a job that we'll want to do for 10 years. It's very rough on our bodies. Many order selectors move on to inventory control or becoming forklift operators, maybe even receivers. With this position, we'll learn every item in our building and where it's located. Again, having that item knowledge gives us a leg up on others. Throughout the selection process, the slots are being depleted or emptied, hence our next position. The replenishment forklift operator. This person is responsible for, besides the safe operation of the forklift, to keep the picking slots filled at all times. They bring the freight down from their reserve locations to the pick slots. Now, I know that all forklift operators want to stay on their lifts at all times, and you see a lot of that in the manufacturing and production facilities, because a lot of times they're moving freight from one location to another department to be worked. But in the distribution centers, we'll probably have to occasionally get off of our lifts and hand stack product onto another pallet, maybe even pulling empty pallets from slots by hand and stacking them to get them out of the way. This is a very respected position. We're working in the aisles with others, and people are depending on us to help them hit their productivity numbers. And again, as with any type of equipment or machine usage, safety has to be our first priority. I'll take this opportunity to slide in the fact that no one should ever, under any circumstances, touch or get on or operate any machine or piece of powered industrial equipment they have not been trained on and certified to operate. I know you get tired of me saying that, but it's just that important. Where was I? Next up is our loaders. Here's another position I consider a great get our foot in the door job. We'll be running pallets of selected product or orders into the route trailers to be delivered. In today's world, I consider this job a bit of a skilled position. We'll need a little experience on a pallet jack, as we could be moving the staged pallets filled with orders into the correct position of the trailer so the driver can find his or her deliveries by stop numbers. In some instances, we may be required to load the trailer by hand or floor load it for various different reasons or requirements. This is another position of importance and a productivity-driven task. The driver will have a dispatch time, and it's our responsibility to make sure the driver is ready to roll at that time. There's a few other positions in the distribution center we'll have the opportunity to learn or work in. Positions like inventory control, driver helper, slotting coordinator maybe. And then the frontline management positions like warehouse leads, supervisors, managers, and more senior level positions like directors and vice presidents. As you can tell, experience opens those doors to growth, more responsibilities, and wages within our industry. Each position or task I mentioned today is a great career in and of itself. We need to be doing what we love. I don't know of any other industry where we can work our way up to a six-figure income through our experiences and without any formal education or tech schooling. Of course, we have to keep self-learning every day, gather as many certifications as offered by our industry, and continue to grow personally and professionally. But what a rewarding career that we can have. Well, I wanted to talk a little about that personal and professional growth and goals and planning, but I've ran long on time today, and we all probably need to get back to work. We'll get into all that a bit later, I guess. If you have any questions about anything discussed in today's episode, please shoot us a message to host@warehouseandoperationsasacareer.com, and I'll make sure we get an answer back to you. Until next week, be prosperous, be productive, be thankful, and be safe out there.